Hello students, welcome back to the second part of the chapter Indigo. In the last video we had discussed how Gandhiji reached Champaran to help the sharecroppers and he was facing problem. So those who have not seen the first video, kindly watch that, then only you will be able to understand the second part. And others, let's start the video. The officials felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation. He helped them regulate the crowd. He was polite and friendly, and he was giving them concrete proof that their might, hitherto dreaded and unquestioned, could be challenged by Indians. So, as the crowd it had gathered in front of the court building, it became difficult for the officers to control the mob, and they had to take Gandhi's help to regulate the crowd. Gandhi politely told the officials that if they would misuse their power, then there were chances that they would have to face a revolt from the Indians. The government was baffled, means confused. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. Apparently, the authorities wished to consult their superiors. So when Gandhiji, he said that if they are going to misuse their power, or then they will have to face a revolt from the Indians. And as the situation was getting tougher, the lawyer requested the court to postpone the trial by some days. The authorities decided to first consult the higher authorities. As the Gandhi protested against the delay. He read a statement pleading guilty. He was involved in, he told the court, in a conflict of duties. On the one hand, not to set a bad example as a lawbreaker, on the other hand, to render the humanitarian and national service for which he had come. He disregarded the order to leave not for want of respect for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of our being, the voice of conscience. He asked the penalty due. The magistrate announced that he would pronounce the sentence after a 2-hour recess and asked Gandhi to furnish bail for those 120 minutes. Gandhi refused. The judge released him without bail. What is a bail? It's an amount of money that a person who has been accused of a crime pays to a law court so that they can be released until their trial. So when the government it got confused and the prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial, and it was very clear that the authorities, they wanted to consult their superiors. So Gandhi, he protested against this delay. He objected against the delay in the proceedings of the case. He read a statement in front of the court in which he accepted his fault in a very humble manner. He said that he was not a lawbreaker and didn't want to go against the law, but his duty towards humanity has a greater influence on him, and it forced him to do so. He refused to leave the town because he wanted to help the sharecroppers, as it was his moral duty. The magistrate, he asked him to arrange for bail because he was going to give his judgment after the 2-hour-long break. Gandhiji refused to seek bail, and later on he was released without it. When the court reconvened, means it started again after a small break, the judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days. Meanwhile, he allowed Gandhi to remain at liberty. So when the court proceedings restarted, the judge refused to deliver any judgment for many days to come, and he allowed Gandhi to remain free. Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Mazrul Haq, and several other prominent, means important, well-known lawyers had arrived from Bihar. They conferred means discussed with Gandhi. What would they do if he was sentenced to prison? Gandhi asked. So Gandhiji, he asked them that if he was sentenced to jail, then what would be their course of action? Why? The senior lawyer replied. They had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. So when Gandhiji asked this question, one senior lawyer replied that they were there to help Gandhiji out, and if Gandhiji was sentenced to jail, then they would return back. What about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. The lawyers withdrew to consult. Rajendra Prasad has recorded the upshot, means the result of their consultation, of their discussion. They thought amongst themselves that Gandhi was totally a stranger, and yet he was prepared to go to prison for the sake of the peasants. If they, on the other hand, being not only residents of the adjoining districts but also those who claim to have served these peasants, should go home, it would be shameful desertion. So when Gandhi came to know about their decision, when one senior lawyer said that they would go back if Gandhiji is sentenced to jail, so Gandhiji asked them, what about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Means he asked these people to help the sharecroppers who were facing unfairness. Rajendra Prasad and other lawyers, they concluded that if Gandhi could go to jail for the people of their area, although he was a stranger, then they should also follow him, as they had always claimed to serve the peasants and fought their legal battles too. They accordingly went back to Gandhi and told him that they were ready to follow him into jail. This line, very important: the battle of Champaran is won, he exclaimed. Then he took a piece of paper and divided the group into pairs and put down the order in which each pair was to court arrest. So when Rajendra Prasad and other people, they discussed and they decided that if Gandhi went to jail, then they would follow him. On hearing this, Gandhiji assured them that their struggle for Champaran peasants had been won. Means he developed the confidence, he aroused their confidence in themselves, and he brought unity in them. And when I mean, people are united, they get powerful, and they can throw any rule, as we have witnessed in history. So that is why he says that Champaran's peasants had been won. And he divided the group into pairs of two and made a sequence in which they had to voluntarily surrender in the court. Several days later, Gandhi received a written communication from the magistrate informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. Civil disobedience had triumphed for the first time in modern India. Civil disobedience means peaceful form of political protest, means no hitting and no violent protest was there. It was a peaceful protest and a political protest, and it had triumphed for the first time in modern India. So after some days, the magistrate, he had sent a letter to Gandhiji in which it was written that as per the orders of Deputy Governor, the case against Gandhiji had been taken back, and it was for the first time in modern India that a peaceful protest against the government had been won. Gandhi and the lawyers now proceeded to conduct a far-flung inquiry into the grievances of the farmer. Grievances means complaints. Far-flung means which is spread over a wide area. So Gandhiji and other lawyers, they carried on with an in-depth investigation into the injustice with the farmers. Depositions means formal written statement by about 10,000 peasants were written down, and notes made on other evidence. Documents were collected. The whole area throbbed. Throbbed means it vibrated with the activity of the investigators and the vehement. Vehement means forceful protests of the landlords. Of course, first the statements of about 10,000 peasants were recorded and various documentary proofs were collected, and as a result the whole area, it vibrated with activity. What activity? The activity of the investigators and the protesting landlords. Means, of course, the landlords, they tried to protest forcefully against these investigators because they were collecting proof against them. In June, Gandhi was summoned to Sir Edward Gate, the Lieutenant Governor. Before he went, he met leading associates and again laid detailed plans for civil disobedience if he should not return. So in June, Gandhi was called up to be present before Deputy Governor Sir Edward Gate, and before meeting him, he met his chief supporters and made plans for civil disobedience in case he did not return. Gandhi had 4 protracted, means lasting for a long time, interviews with the Lieutenant Governor, who as a result appointed an official commission of inquiry into the indigo sharecroppers situation. The commission consisted of landlords, government officials, and Gandhi as the sole representative of the peasants. So Gandhi, he had 4 long interviews with the deputy commissioner, which led to the formation of a commission that inquired into the indigo sharecroppers situation. The commission had landlords, government officials, and Gandhi, who was the only spokesperson for the peasants. Gandhi remained in Champaran for an initial uninterrupted period of 7 months. Means he remained in Champaran for 7 months. In the beginning, uninterrupted means continuously. He stayed in Champaran for 7 months, and then again for several shorter visits. Means he also made several short visits later on. The visits undertaken casually on the entreaty, means on an humble request, of an unlettered peasant. Unlettered means illiterate, in the expectation that it would last a few days, occupied almost a year of Gandhi's life. So his visit on the request of a peasant, it was presumed to last a few days, but it took a year of Gandhi's life. The official inquiry gathered a crushing mountain of evidence against the big planters And when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. So an official inquiry, it did not favor the planters, hence they agreed to pay back to the peasants, but they questioned Gandhi regarding the amount to be repaid. So the inquiry, it was not in favor of the landlords, but it was in favor of the sharecroppers. And um, sharecroppers, and these people, the landowners, they agreed to pay back to the peasant, but the question was how much they have to pay. They thought that Gandhi would demand repayment in full of the money which they had illegally and deceitfully extorted. Means they took forcibly. Deceitfully means dishonestly. From the sharecroppers, he asked only 50%. There he seemed adamant, means firm, determined, writes Reverend J.Z. Hodge, a British missionary in Champaran who observed the entire episode at close range. So the money lenders, they had thought that Gandhi would ask for the full payment of the money which they had taken from the peasants forcefully and fraudulently, but Gandhiji asked for only 50% and his decision was firm. A missionary, Reverend J.Z. Hodge, who had a close watch on the matter, reported this. Thinking probably that he would not give way, the representative of the planters offered to refund to the extent of 25%, and to his amazement, Mr. Gandhi took him at his word, thus breaking the deadlock. So the planters, Gandhiji asked for 50%, but planters, they offered to pay only 25% as they thought it would be rejected outrightly by Gandhi. But what happened? He immediately accepted it. Gandhiji said, accepted it, thus breaking the deadlock. Deadlock means a situation in which no progress can be made. What he said, that this settlement was adopted unanimously by the commission. Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige, their honor, their esteem. Therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters had behaved as lords above the law, and now the peasants saw that he had rights and defenders, means protector. He learned courage. He learned courage. So Gandhiji, he said that the amount of money was not important, but by giving money, the planters had bowed down to the peasants and had given away their honor too. The planters who earlier behaved as if they were above the law now had to abide by it. This made the peasants realize their rights and gave them courage to fight for them. Events justified Gandhi's position. Within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates, which reverted to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping disappeared. So the events, they had proven Gandhi's position, justified his position that he was right in accepting 25% refund. The British planters, they had to leave their property within the next few years. These properties, they were returned back to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping soon came to an end. Gandhi never contented, means satisfied, himself with large political or economic solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. So Gandhi, he was not satisfied by achieving political or economic solution as he achieved in this Indigo movement. He sought to remove the cultural and social backwardness of Champaran. He appealed for teachers, Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parekh. They were two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work. Several more came from Bombay, Pune and other distant parts of the land. Devdas, Gandhi's youngest son, he also arrived from the ashram, and so did Mrs. Gandhi. So, as I said that he was not satisfied by achieving political or economic solution. He wanted to do something to remove the backwardness in the villages of Champaran, and he requested teachers such as Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parekh and their wives to teach the villagers. Both of them were followers of Gandhi. Many other volunteers came from Bombay and Pune to join them. Mrs. Gandhi and their youngest son Devdas, they also arrived from the ashram for their help. Primary schools were opened in 6 villages. Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. So 6 schools, primary schools, they were opened in 6 villages, where Kasturbai, she used to teach the ashram rules on cleanliness and community sanitation. Health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. So the health condition of the people of Champaran were very poor. They were miserable. They were pathetic. So Gandhi, he got a doctor who offered his services free of cost for 6 months. 3 medicines were available: castor oil, quinine and sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil. Anybody with skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. So only 3 medicines were available at that time: castor oil, quinine and sulfur ointment. You have to remember them and for what problem they were given. A patient with a coated tongue was given castor oil. Malaria patient was served a dose of quinine, and a patient with a skin disorder was given a ointment and castor oil. Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. Dirty. Filthy means dirty. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. One woman took Kasturbai into her hut and said, "Look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." So the women of the area used to wear dirty clothes. When Gandhi tried to know the reason through his wife, he was told that those were the only saris each of the women had. During his long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. So when Gandhi was in Champaran, he kept a long distance watch on the ashram also. Means he did not neglect his ashram. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. Once he wrote to the residents, mean the people who were in the ashram, that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches and dig new ones, otherwise the old ones would begin to smell bad. So he used to send letters of orders regarding financial matters, and once he wrote to the local that it was time to dig new latrines as the old ones had started giving foul smell. So this shows that how much he was aware of the things, and he also kept his eyes on the things around him. He was sitting in Champaran, but he knew that it's time to dig the new trenches in the ashram, otherwise the old ones would begin to smell bad. The Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. What I did, he explained, was a very ordinary thing. I declared that the British could not order me about in my own country. So, Gandhiji said that this Champaran episode, it was a turning point in his life, and he said though he did a very ordinary thing, but ordinary thing was that he declared that the British, they could not order him in his own country. And so this Champaran incident, it changed Gandhi's life, because if you remember, we read that the commissioner told him that you are an outsider and you will not be given any information, and he said that I am not an outsider. So he realized that these Britishers, how they are treating these Indians, and that is why he urged the departure of these Britishers, and that is why he says that this Champaran incident, it changed Gandhi's life. It was a turning point in his life, because from here he decided to depart these Britishers from our country. But Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate the distress of large number of poor peasants. This was the typical Gandhi pattern. His politics were intertwined with the practical day-to-day problems of the millions. He was not a loyalty to abstractions. Abstraction means which exists only an idea, means he was not his loyalty was not only to ideas, that he was having some good ideas related to the people of the country or related to the development or growth of the country. They were not simply abstract ideas. It was his loyalty to the living human beings. He was concerned about the people of the country, the men and women of the country, their problems. In everything Gandhi did, moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. So this Champaran Satyagraha, it was not an act of opposition, it was not an act of defiance, it was an attempt to help out the poor and tortured peasants. This was Gandhi's way to solve issues. His politics was knitted up with the everyday problems faced by the millions of people. Means what the people are facing, the problem that they are facing in their day-to-day life. His politics was related to that. He did not aim at the fulfillment of ideas, rather he was concerned for the people. The basic idea was to serve humanity and make a free Indian who could stand for his rights. He knew, seeing this Indigo episode, that how the peasants, they were afraid of the Britishers, how they were exploited by these landlords. So what idea came to his mind? To make Indians free from fear and make them stand on their feet, fight for their rights. Early in the Champaran action, Charles Frere Andrews, the English pacifist, means peacemaker, who had become a devoted follower of the Mahatma, came to bid Gandhi farewell before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. Gandhi's lawyer friends thought it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Champaran and help them. Andrew was willing if Gandhi agreed, but Gandhi was vehemently opposed, forcefully, in an intense manner. He opposed this idea. He said, "You think that in this unequal fight, it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side. This shows the weakness of your heart. This cause is just, and you must rely upon yourselves to win the battle. You should not seek a prop. Prop means help in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman." He had read our minds correctly, Rajendra Prasad comments, and we had no reply. Gandhi, in this way, taught us a lesson in self-reliance. Self-reliance, Indian independence, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together. So, in the last para, what we read that Charles Freer Andrews, who was a peacemaker, he visited Gandhi before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. Gandhi's lawyer friends, they wanted Andrews to stay at the ashram and help them, but Gandhi refused. He said that they did not need the help of Britishers as it showed a lack of trust in their own abilities. He asked them not to seek any help from Mr. Andrews as he was an Englishman. Rajendra Prasad later on stated that Gandhi had read their thoughts and his reply served as a lesson of self-sufficiency for them. Being self-dependent, free, and helping the peasants, all these acts of Gandhi were interconnected. So, what Gandhiji taught us, he taught us the lesson of self-reliance, the lesson of self-dependent, self-sufficiency, self-support. Means we should not depend on others. Basically, here he was saying not to depend on the Britishers, but we should be self-dependent, we should be self-sufficient, and we should seek help amongst ourselves. We should support ourselves and should not be dependent on other, and stand on our feet for our rights. So this is all about the chapter Indigo. I hope it is clear to you. So as I said, ultimately Gandhi ji, he told Louis Fisher that it was Champaran's incident that made him think that he did not need the Britishers' advice while he was in his own country, and that is why he urged the departure of the Britishers from our country. Let's stop here. Thank you.